We are more fortunate because because we got the opportunity to study and practice Vajrayana teaching, which is so difficult to find. Very difficult to find. Vajrayana teaching is very difficult to find, In some texts, it says like, coming into contact with the Vajrayana teaching is hard to, or difficult to, more difficult than Buddha. Vajrayana teaching. Very, very extreme, hard, extreme difficult. Right? The holy gateway of the fortunate ones, the supreme Vajra vehicle. Right? So here, in order to cultivate, in order to develop the general path, we are seeking the blessings from the merit field. That may I be able to cultivate the realization of training in the general path. Please bless me to cultivate this kind of realizations. To cultivate this kind of realization. Please bless me to enter the holy gateway of the fortunate ones, the supreme Vajra vehicle. Yeah. Here, so one thing is, this text, for example, normally, unlike academic subjects, of course, one can, one need to make the presence of the, in the class when the teacher taught academic subjects. But here, Dharma texts are unlike any academic subjects. Dharma, because, now what makes the difference? In both academic subjects, we gain information. Here also we gain information. But what makes difference is, kind of, the continuation of the blessing. The continuation of the blessing. So this continuation of the blessing becomes very important. Continuation of the blessing. Having become a pure vessel by training in general path, bless me to enter the holy gateway of the fortunate ones, the supreme Vajra vehicle. When we talk about the Vajra vehicle, they are, in general. Now, first we train in the, what is called as Hinayana path. Then we train in the Mahayana path. Then finally, when we are ready to practice the more esoteric path, the profound path, right, and the supreme path, then, then we need to train in the esoteric teaching. So this is only when we are ready. If we do not develop any understanding in the foundational teaching, if we do not develop any understanding, if we do not have any kind of, the experience, if we do not have any kind of experience, then we are not ready to practice Vajrayana. How do we know if we are ready? If we really have a good understanding, not only good understanding, if we really have some experience of the bodhicitta, have some experience of the sense of renunciation, then we are ready. right? So it's very, very important, because it's very important. Because here, when there are empowerments, people go, but then when there are teachings, difficult. No, very difficult to very difficult. Therefore, Jitsongaba says, therefore, people say there are many practitioners in Tibet. There are many good practitioners in Tibet. But there are, not many. Just as there are many practitioners, they are not, realized practitioners. What's the cause for this? And then Adisha says, Tibetans consider the guru as a spiritual guru as a very ordinary, so we cannot expect, realization. So that's like true, but then in order to, for example, when we talk about the spiritual guide, we are just referring to the spiritual guide, for example, Hinayana spiritual guide, Mahayana spiritual guide, Vajrayana spiritual guide. Each system, Hinayana, when they talks about the Hinayana spiritual guide, there are some qualifications of the Hinayana spiritual guide. When we talk about the Mahayana spiritual guide, 10 qualities, 10 qualifications is necessary. When we talk about the Vajrayana spiritual guide, again 10 qualities, different 10 qualities, right now. So like this. But now, in order to kind of develop a respect and kind of develop a faith to the spiritual guide with these qualities, it is not it is not enough to just develop the faith and kind of devotion without any reason. So we should have reason why I'm supposed to develop that kind of devotion, develop the faith. That is now finally this is finally for the interest of oneself. Is finally for the interest of oneself, because we want to know the reality. We really want to progress along the path. We want to travel along the path. We want to progress the path. Progress the path. Now, when it comes to showing the right path, again it is the spiritual guide with these wonderful qualities, right? So that's why I again say, it is very important to develop a general understanding of the teaching. Again, in the great Indian masters' text, Nalanda masters' text, they also emphasize on this kind of rule, emphasize on the rule. And then again, when we talk about the 4 kinds of Vajrayana system, when we talk about the 4 kinds, the first is action tantra. The second one is performance tantra. The third one is yoga tantra, and the fourth one is highest yoga tantra. Right? Now, who taught this teaching? Some say in early Tibetans, some some early scholars from outside, they say Tibetan Buddhism is not a complete Buddhism. They say Tibetan Buddhism is a Lamaism. To some extent, it look like true. Because we emphasize too much on ritual, ritual aspects. We emphasize too much on ritual, like doing things like that. So, and then another thing is, what makes people believe that Purvan Buddhism is a Lamaism is because there is a, emphasis on the Guru devotion. Even if you go to the temple, even if you go to the many temple, you will see the Guru in the middle of the hall, chanting hall. There is no image of Buddha Shakyamuni. Right? So like this. So that's why it becomes very. That's why we again see. It's very important to develop a general understanding, the overall understanding. If we have an overall understanding, then we see difference, like this. Then we see. So in any way, there's the importance is being placed on the Guru, the Guru deity. So people call it's a Buddhism is not a the complete, it's a Lamaism, right? To the extent, let alone accepting the Vajrayana teaching. Some even say, there is no Mahayana teaching. No Mahayana teaching. Now, for example, during the time of Arya Nagarjuna, they Buddha passed away, and then Hinayana spread. The Hinayana teaching spread. So there are a lot of Hinayana teaching spread. So Mahayana declined. Mahayana teachings decline and Mahayana practice decline. So then Arya Nagarjuna came into this world. And then to some extent around those times, to the extent that they say Mahayana teaching is not the true teaching of Buddha Shakyamuni, true teaching of Buddha. Some very how to say, with some inventive mind, they make it Mahayana teaching. Mahayana teaching. Very again, we say. Buddha taught Buddha taught noble truth. Buddha taught the first turning wheel of the Dharma. When the Buddha turned the first turning wheel of Dharma, he the disciples, the students are mostly Hinayana practitioners. And then in the second turning wheel of the Dharma, Buddha taught the teaching on Buddha taught then Perfection Wisdom Sutra. Perfection Wisdom Sutra. This. So now they say there's a nice this story. Arya Vasubandhu Asanga is a great Mahayana follower. Was a great Mahayana follower, and his brother Vasubandhu, he was a Hinayana practitioner, right? So he does not believe in Mahayana tradition, Vasubandhu, Mahayana tradition. Vasubandhu and the Vasubandhu and Asanga share the same mother, one mother. So then Asanga, we know the story. He was then came under the care of Maitreya Buddha. Vasubandhu around that time was Hinayana practitioner. So one time Vasubandhu Asanga sent someone to recite the Mahayana text in front of his house, Vasubandhu house. Vasubandhu thought, who wrote it? And then he really want to, he really want to see who wrote this text, wonderful text, because the text was written by Buddha Maitreya. So he want to see, So then he came to his brother. He came to know that it was sent by his brother. So before he criticized Mahayana, Vasubandhu say, Arya Nagarjuna is the emanation of the devil. The Mahayana teaching is like a sky flower. It does not exist. So, but then he felt regret. He felt so regret, He felt so regret. And then he asked his brother, what can be the method to purify his, this negative, karma. Then Vasubandhu informed this to Buddha Maitreya. And Buddha Maitreya told, because you have criticized the Mahayana teaching, so very difficult to come to meet with me. You cannot, you will not be able to come to, meet with me. So now, if you really want to purify, you need to, write the text, compose the text. So then it is Vasubandhu. He wrote the Abhidharma Kosha, the text we studied in the monastery for 2 years, all the monks, not only Gelug, Sajanying Makayu, Sajanying Makayu Gelug, all these 4 traditions, we do study this, as a monastic subject, 2 years. So this, reading this text, very good for purifying one's negativities. Right? So like this. So anyway, there are 4, there are 4 tantras. Sakya, Nyingma, I'm now confused here. Action tantra. What do we mean by action tantra? Action tantra means there are 4 tantras, right? So action tantra mostly emphasis on the cleanliness, and then or emphasis more on external ritual, right? And then performance tantra, it emphasis more on action, behavior. Action tantra means emphasis on external behavior. Performance tantra, again, it emphasis more on emphasis more on conduct, performance, and then performance tantra means emphasis equally, both external and internal. Now yoga tantra emphasis more on inward, and the highest yoga tantra, right, is the supreme vehicle. Now here there is this term, now for example, action tantra is sometimes called as, looking tantra, gazing tantra, glancing, we call looking tantra, action tantra. Performance tantra is sometimes called, touching, touching tantra, touching. Yoga tantra is sometimes called as embracing tantra, and the highest yoga tantra is sometimes called as union tantra. What do we mean by touching? Well, first, what do we mean by gazing, looking tantra, right? So again, it is important to understand Gazing means looking, yeah, we look in the action tantra. Action tantra, we do meditate on the deity, right? For example, we meditate on Tara, Buddha Tara. We meditate on Namgyema. We meditate on the white umbrella. Right. Now, who you are meditating? Which deity you are meditating? So, we meditate on the deity, female deity. When we meditate on the female deity, what happens is, we see the kind of, attractiveness part of the deity. We see the attractiveness part of the deity, and then when we see the attractive part of the deity, there is a bliss generated. There is a bliss generated, right? Out of this attractiveness, or how to say, we develop a kind of pleasure. We develop a pleasure. This, when the pleasure is developed, the bliss is generated. The bliss is generated. So that's why it's called the bliss they generated through gazing. This is action tantra emphasis, and the performance tantra is the same. We first touch. We imagine touching the deity, and then the bliss is generated. That bliss is generated through touching. And then we have embracing. The bliss generated through embrace, And then the final has yoga tantra union. Union. So the bliss is more profound, becomes more profound. Because of this nature, Buddha did not talk bliss in the sutra path. Buddha didn't teach bliss in the sutra path. Therefore, Hinayana, for the Hinayana practitioner, Buddha taught Hinayana path. He said Hinayana teaching is the best. Then those who really want the extensive path, who want to follow professions, benefiting others. I mean, we all have, each people have their own, mental disposition, mental inclination. Some want individual liberation. Oh, I want to achieve, nirvana, liberation. It's very, very good, for me. So some people, they truly take care of themselves. Some people, they are not satisfied, so they want to, to do something very good, to something very, big. So they, engage in the 6 perfections, like giving, ethics, patience, all this, like. So some people emphasis more on this. Now, those people with supreme intelligence, Buddha taught this. Now, which is beyond the, Hinayana, because Hinayana emphasis on this, do not develop attachment, do not develop hatred. This is a poison, delusion. This will give to the problem. This will give to the real poison, delusion. These are the real poison. It will destroy one's life. If we develop anger, we are not happy. If we develop anger, like hatred, we are not happy. Attachment, not happy. Now, in the Vajrayana teachings, what it says, skillfully, you can skillfully transform these negative emotions into the spiritual path. This Hinayana, they don't believe. Because this is such an esoteric teaching. Skillfully, let anger come. Do not go under the control of anger. Use it skillfully. Make it very skillful use. What happened? We see the meditation deity. We visualize meditation deity, and then when we visualize, we develop bliss. So this bliss, what happens is this bliss. This bliss is, it comes from where? It comes from attachment. The bliss generated from attachment, but finally it is this bliss eating the attachment. Like, the insects on the tree. insects, the insects from the tree, these insects come from the tree, but then it eats its own bark. It eats the tree of the bark. So like this. So that's why we say when we want to now in action tantra, when we want to meditate on some deity like Avalokiteshvara, say Tara. So these are action tantra deity, right? Action tantra deity. Many of the action tantra deity, they have mostly two hands, one hat with two hands, not many hands, not many, just two hands or one in a hat. And also mostly are peaceful ones. Peaceful ones, and so then as we discussed, it emphasizes on cleanliness. So when we practice, if we are a practitioner of Avalokiteshvara, we need to be very clean, not externally clean, internally clean, externally clean. That means, for example, if we want to, that's why if we do the practice of fasting, you don't eat garlic, right? You don't eat egg, you don't eat meat, because it emphasizes the cleanliness. And then you have to take the wash body almost 2 or 3 times a day. One day there was a practitioner in Tibet. He was doing meditation on his action tantra deity, one action tantra deity. He was doing meditation, maybe a Manjushri, wisdom Buddha. Then but then he spent a lot of time. He was doing a meditation pretty well. Meditation. He was expecting to have the result in at least in a few years, but it didn't happen. So he was surprised. And then he went to his guru to check. What's the reason behind this? And then later it was learned that he was not cleaning, he was not taking a shower his body. Of course he say your meditation very good, there's no problem, but then he's not taking the shower on time. So this but then he took the shower, and then some experience developed like this. So it's a cleanliness plays a very important role in the practice of the action tantra. Then then again we know when we talk about the action tantra, we don't use a generation stage and completion stage. We don't use this. The spiritual path, just like a generation stage and completion stage, here in the action tantra, in the lower tantras, we call yoga with sign and yoga without sign. Yoga with sign and yoga without sign. Yoga without sign. Of course, when we practice the action tantra, when we practice the performance tantra, we could achieve enlightenment. We could achieve enlightenment in a single lifetime. Single lifetime with a single body. But then we will not be able to achieve enlightenment in this degenerate time. Degenerate time more quickly. So one of the unique is, unlike Sutra path, in the Tantra path, Vajrayana path, what we do is, in order to achieve enlightenment, what happens is we achieve the all the paths of the action tantra or performance tantra. We achieve all this path, and then what we have is then we achieve we achieve the kind of, we achieve the realization for prolonging our life for many, many eons. So then, with this, prolonged life, we achieve enlightenment. Now, in the Harish Yoga Tantra, because the method employed is so skillful that it lets you to achieve enlightenment in a single lifetime with a single body in this very degenerate lifetime. This degenerate lifetime. Right? And especially when we say in Guru devotion, Guru Puja, I must achieve the enlightenment as quickly as they are too quick, quickly. The second quickly refers to by relying on the Guru devotion, I achieve enlightenment in a shortest span of life. Shortest, that is 3 years, 6 months, 3 weeks, 3 days. In this, we achieve enlightenment. Just by relying on the unmistaken Guru devotion. And then the Guru devotion here, mainly refers to the Mahamudra. Like this. Please, having become a pure vessel by training in the general path, please bless me to enter, what is the gateway for becoming a Buddhist? To become a Buddhist, you need to take a refuge. We should have refuge. When we have taken the refuge, then we are Buddhist. If we have not taken a refuge, we are not Buddhist. Again, it's important, because I sometimes wonder, because in some, they say, we normally, in some family, in mostly, Buddhist, for example, in the Buddhist dominated country, people, family, family, right? So their ancestors all, Buddhist, ancestors all Buddhist. But then they say, I am a Buddhist because my father and mother Buddhist. If we go like this, we are not sure if we are Buddhist. Because to become a Buddhist, to becoming a Buddhist involves taking the refuge from the Guru, from the teacher, from the Guru. He should give you the refuge. And then on the part of ourselves, we should have developed the mind. Now I have received the vow, refuge vow. Now I am Buddhist. This kind of thinking should develop. Otherwise one is not Buddhist. Now again, in order to know this, we need to understand, how, the vows are cultivated. Now, for example, this is same, during the initiation, when the Guru gives you the initiation, when you Guru the Bodhisattva vow, just, we say, recite few words, until I am enlightened, I go for refuge, and then, I will able to, serve all the sentient beings like this, Alone, following the words alone is not enough. We should have developed that we have cultivated vow. And now I am now I have Bodhisattva vow. I have cultivated vow. It is at that very point we receive the Bodhisattva vow. Same with Tantric vow. We should have think, I have received. When the master say, saying some words, and then he do like this, right? He does the snap. At that very point, we think we have received Bodhisattva. Very, very important that is. Then we receive Bodhisattva. Now, what happens is later on, what happens is when the master snap his finger, we develop, we have received. Why? Why we need to think that we have received is because now we go outside sometime. We go outside and then sometime we need to do things, we need to do things. For example, sometimes if we some people how to say, for example, Buddhist texts, Buddhist texts. Some people, they're saying selling Buddhist texts, for profit. At that time, profit, and then there's one, this one. We say, do not be friend with those people with a pervert view, wrong view. That means those people who believe next life does not exist, past life does not exist, there's no karma, there's no karma, only this is the life, there's no karma, there's no Buddha jewel, there's no Dharma jewel, there's no Sangha jewel. So like this, don't be friend. Once we have taken the refuge, like don't be friend with them. Now what happens is, when we at the point of receiving the vow, refuge vow, now when we are about to be friend with them, now we think, oh, I should not be friend. Because why? I'm a Buddhist. This kind of thinking come later on. This kind of thinking should come. If we really have developed at the time of point of receiving, oh, I have received the vow, and then when we go outside, we think, oh, I'm Buddhist. This kind of thinking should come. For example, lay person, right? There's a lay person vow, we call Upasika vow. Upasika, lay person vow. When you receive the lay person vow, refraining from fighting. Now, for example, in the case of taking, liquor. After you receive the layperson vow, now when we are, about to take the, when we see the we see the wine, liquor, and about to, drink, and then your conscience say, do not drink, because you have a vow, layperson vow. This kind of thinking should come. What makes this kind of thinking arise is because at the point of receiving, you have cultivated that you have received the vow. So like this, very, very important, all this, for, if you really want to, observe the vows and commitments, if you really want to keep the vows and commitments sincerely, like this. Having become pure vessel by training in general path, please bless me to enter the holy gateway of the fortunate one, the Supreme Vajra vehicle. I'll finish this. Now, at that time, the basis of accomplishing the two attainments is keeping pure vows and samaya. Having become firmly convinced of this, please bless me to protect these vows and pledges like my life. So what it says? At that time, the basis of accumulation the two attainments is keeping pure vows and samaya. When it comes to keeping pure vows and samaya, this is definite. Some of the Buddha's teaching, we cannot, accept. We cannot accept literally. Why we accept literally is because in the first noble truth, in the first turning of the wheel of the Dharma, Buddha taught things have independent existence. So we cannot accept this. If we accept this, what's the problem? Then why Buddha turned the second turning wheel of the Dharma, in which he says everything is non-inherent, lack of inherent existence, empty of inherent existence. Right? So like this. So some teaching literal, some teaching interpretation Buddha. But here, this is definite. Is keeping pure vows in Samaya. Having become firmly convinced of this, please bless me to protect these vows and pleasures like my life. At the basis of accumulation, two attainments. What are the two attainments? At that time, the basis of accumulation. Yeah. Yeah, patient. At that time, the basis of accomplishing the two attainments is keeping pure vows and samaya. Having become firmly convinced of this, please bless me to protect these vows and pleasures like my life. So the two attainments are, the attainments generated, cultivated through generation stage and the completion stage. The attainments. Yeah, sorry. Is keeping pure vows in samaya. So this is like, doctor, So one is diagnosed with the illness. So the doctor give us medicine for this illness. So if we take the medicine, we will have recovery. If you don't take the medicine, there is no recovery. Right? So this is almost like same here, So after we are committed to do something, If we do this, then there is a benefit. If we don't do, then there is no benefit. Like this. especially, especially here, pure vows and samaya, pure vows and samaya. So this is the, after we receive the initiation and empowerment, keeping vows and samaya becomes very important. If we really keep the vows and samaya sincerely, then without, if we don't meditate, that's okay. It says within 7 lifetimes we achieve we achieve enlightenment. 7 lifetimes. But then we do the opposite sometime. We do the opposite, and then we do some lot of meditation, lot of kinds of meditation, but then we don't keep the samaya and commitments. So there is no result. There are no result. In olden times, people emphasis more on keeping the samaya. People emphasis more on keeping the samaya. Now take like in ancient masters, they like we know how the great Milarepa relied on his spiritual teacher, and many of the great masters, many of the Indian masters and also the Tibetan masters, how they rely on the spiritual masters, really wonderful, So it involves, involves developing the, kind of developing a high, standard of devotion. Again, now it says, we need to keep the samaya, we need to keep the commitments, vows, But then, if we keep for example, now say meditation, calm abiding meditation, single pointed meditation, whatever meditation we call, yeah, no problem. But then, in order to do the meditation, why we are doing meditation, right? Why we are doing meditation, and what's the reason for doing meditation? In order to do the meditation, we should have some purpose. We should have some purpose. We are doing meditation in order to achieve happiness, right? In order to achieve happiness. In order to do the happiness, and with this, the goal of achieving happiness, we do meditation, right? So now, in order to properly engage meditation, we need to see the benefit of doing meditation. The benefit is happiness. In order to see the benefit, again we need to see the defects of meditation, defects of not doing the meditation. We don't do meditation, and then a lot of problem come, right? There are a lot of problems come. We are not expecting, we don't get what we expected, we get what we are not expected. So all this come because mind is distracted, mind is going somewhere. We are not able to bring back the mind home, right? So we need to see not doing the defects of not doing the meditation, and then when we see the defects of not doing the meditation, we want to do the meditation. When we see the benefits of doing meditation, we develop the aspiration to do the meditation. When we develop the aspiration to do the meditation, we want to put the effort. When we put the effort, and then we really do the meditation, and then the result come. Now, in order to carry on with our practice for a long time, we need to have the general understanding. It's very important to develop some understanding, general understanding, the overall understanding of the teaching. If you don't have overall understanding, what happens is we do some kind of meditation, and then the obstacle come, and then we give up. That's so like this. So samaya, keeping samaya, vows and samaya, very, very important, keeping vows and samaya. Because why we are keeping vow, we don't say, if we keep samaya, if we keep the pledge, if we keep the promise, by doing this, it is finally for, one's own, it is finally for oneself, We don't say, it is finally it for one's own progression, it is for one's own transformation. Vows and samaya is keeping pure vows and pure samaya. And that the basis accomplish the two attainments. So this, we need to develop a conviction in this, conviction in this. So sometimes, little bit difficult to develop conviction. Of course, intellectual understanding, for example, impermanent, impermanent. We say things are impermanent. Of course, things are impermanent, we are being introduced. For example, this table, phone, whatever this is, very impermanent. It goes to the process of disintegration. So, we are being taught this is impermanent, right? But then, through reflection again, now we develop a realization that things are impermanent. Nothing will last long, Nothing will last. High building finally collapsed. First come union, and then finally depart is the nature, right? Coming, depart, right? Bringing together, depart, high rising, fall. So all these are very nature. This nature nobody made. These are the very nature of this. So now what I am talking. I forgot my talk. Yeah. So it becomes very important to develop conviction, intellectual understanding. Help. But then, in order to receive this blessing, we need to receive the blessing. We need to receive the blessing. So that's why when it comes to the spiritual, transformation, intellectual understanding alone is not enough. That's why Tsongkhapa says, Manjushri says to Tsongkhapa, if you really want to, realize the ultimate nature, do three things. Accumulate merit, purify negativity, and then study. With these three things, you will sooner or later come to realize what you are expecting. So like this. So it is very important, even in this, life, if we, for example, it says, if you are Vajrayogini practitioner, by sincerely, committing to vows and samaya, without abandoning our, this gross physical aggregate, this four body, we are being, we are able to go to the pure land. or Vajrayogini in this very life. So all this comes to pure samaya, vows and samaya. Vows and samaya. Right? For example, we can use common sense. We have received the bodhicitta. Some years, maybe, we have received the bodhicitta vow, bodhisattva vow. We have received the refuge vow, bodhisattva vow, vajrayana vow. And then having received all these things, and we are careless. No transformation. Right? For example, we receive bodhisattva vow. In the bodhisattva vow, they say, in one of the bodhisattva vow, it says, and cherish all the sentient beings. Cherish all the sentient beings, right? Cherish all the sentient beings. Now, now after receive the bodhisattva vow, even, one sentient being, we are not able to, bring benefit, then no use. So, all this need a lot of effort and understanding. Impermanent, Normally we say, we need to do again, we know the preciousness of the human life. We know the preciousness of the human life. Our life is so precious, the human birth is so precious, right? But then it is not enough to understand the preciousness of the human life, We can understand, precious life is very, precious human life is so precious. In what way so precious is achieving something, meaningful. Achieving something meaningful. Precious in the sense of achieving something meaningful. So in that sense, human life is so precious. But then we intellectually understand this. But then what? But then difficult to get the conviction, experiential understanding, experience. When we develop a real experience, then a real transformation takes place. In order to receive the experience, we need to do the meditation, to gain the conviction. In order to do the meditation and gain the conviction, we need to create the merit and purify negativity. Create the merit. The creation of the merit and purify the negativity. So through this, we finally cultivate this. At that time, the basis of accomplishing the true attainments is keeping the pure vows and samaya, having become firmly convinced of this. Please bless me to protect these vows and pledges like my life. Just as you are protected with your life, so you protect the vows and pledges. If we are able to do to this extent, then we can expect something marvelous. Otherwise, difficult. Then we move to and again, without having some general understanding of the overall teaching of the Buddhist teaching, talking tantra is no use. Talking tantra, it doesn't make any sense, without having a good understanding of foundation teaching, the Four Noble Truths. Buddha taught Four Noble Truths. And then Buddha taught the Four Noble Truths. Buddha taught the 12 links of dependent origination. So many of the Mahayana, Hinayana practices are mainly for the self-transformation, are mainly for preventing problems. Many of the teachings of the Mahayana are for the creation of happiness of oneself. One is emphasis on If you do not want problem, don't do this. Mahayana teaching say, if you want to create happiness, do this. So one is emphasis, don't do this. If you do this, if you do what you are not supposed to do, you will find the problem. If you do what you are supposed to do, you will create happiness. Then finally with these two, then we practice Vajrayana teaching, which is more esoteric, which is more profound, and then, the real transformation begin to take place. The real transformation begin to take place, like this. Then having realized the importance of the two stages, which are the essence of the Vajrayana, by practicing with great energy, never giving up the 4 sessions, please bless me to realize the teachings of the Holy Guru. In the olden times, there is no problem. Yeah.
Quick question: what are the two attainments and the previous stanza?
Which one?
The time, the basis of a commission, the two attainments. What are those two attainments?
These are the attainments of the generation stage. In the Vajrayana, normally here is talking about the Vajrayana in general, and particularly the highest yoga tantra in particular. Highest yoga tantra in particular, and the overall tantra in general. Now, in the lower tantras, they don't use here 2 attainments: generation stage attainment and the completion stage attainment. So these stages, 2 stages are not used in the lower vehicles, the lower tantras, right? Lower tantras. Now, in the highest yoga tantra, now we are not creating something what we don't have. So it really makes sense. In the highest yoga tantra, we are using our own potential. Now, we have all the wonderful qualities. We have all the wonderful qualities. But then we are we do not understand. We do not understand that we have all the wonderful qualities, infinite number of qualities. In the highest yoga tantras, now for example, we are using our own basic qualities. We are not using something we don't have. We are using our own qualities. We are ignorant of what we have. We do not understand, that we have such an infinite number of good qualities, In some Buddhist texts, we say we are Buddha. we are Buddha by beginning. But then temporarily, we are ignorant. We are ignorant. So then, now all the resources that we have, we are using this. We are using this to transform into the perfect. So, the 2 attainments, generation stage, now, for example, generation stage and completion stage, the realization. This realization comes, happen because there is a foundation. There is a foundation. So the 2 attainments are generation stage attainment and completion stage attainments, right? Please bless me to pray. Then having realized the importance of the 2 stages, now these are also talking about those those beings or those people who have perfected, who have completed the training in the general path. So for such a people, this is talking. Now after it says, those people who have completed the general training in general part, now you don't stop here, you proceed, say like this, you proceed. Then having realized the importance of the two stages, which are the essence of the Vajrayana, right? First, we need to complete the generation stage. Then we need to complete the for example, first we cultivate the completion stage. In order to complete the in order to perfect the completion stage, we need to develop the general stage. In order to develop the general stage, we need first of all to cultivate the what? We need to observe the vows and commitments. Before that, we need to receive the initiation, empowerment. In order to receive initiation, we need to develop the mind of bodhicitta, wishing to free all beings to the state of suffering. In order to do this, you need to also develop a sense of the right view, the wisdom. In order to do this, we need to develop a sense of renunciation. Without developing a sense of renunciation, just wanting to practice Vajrayana doesn't make any sense. Why we are practicing Vajrayana? We are practicing Vajrayana to get ourselves enlightened in order to benefit others. If we find a pleasure in our own existence, if we really find a contaminated pleasure in our own existence, we cannot develop our, the mind of, we cannot develop a sense of renunciation. If the prisoner finds you very joyful and comfortable in the prison, he cannot make any attempt to escape from the prison. So like this, in order for the prison to escape from the prison, he should see the torture, he should see the suffering nature of the prison life. Then he want to get out from this, prison life. Similarly, here, in order to get out from the suffering, in order to get out from the unwanted, all the suffering, we have to first experience the suffering. Now there are two kinds of suffering. Some people, when the problem comes, make the problem worse. Some people, when the problem comes skillfully, that people transform problem into the spiritual path, transform the problem into the advantage. Just like Milarepa. Milarepa faced all this problem, and then because of his uncle and auntie, he became enlightened. Without an uncle, who knows where he is now, where he was now. Because then we do the kindness, although uncle and auntie motivation no good, but then, because of the act of the uncle and aunt, he entered into the spiritual path, and then finally, now like this. So again, that's why we say in a single thing, any given situation, we cannot say that situation is 100% negative. We cannot say that situation is 100% positive. If there is negative, there is positive. If there is positive, there is negative. We cannot say this is black, this is blue, this is black and this is white. Difficult to say. Depending on our outlook, how we look at the situation. If we are able to look at the situation skillfully, then even the problem can transform into the good. Like this. Oh, like that. Then having realized the importance of two stages, we are the essence, which are the essence of the Vajrayana. By practicing with great energy, That means we put a lot of effort, great energy, never giving up the 4 sessions. Vibration, great energy. In olden times, great energy means, if we understand, there is a teaching in the Sakya tradition. In the Sakya tradition, there are teaching called 13 golden dharma. 13 golden dharma. Those dharma which are, which can only be imparted when the goal is offered. It's not about, you have to give me the gold, I will give you the teaching. It's not about this, It talks about the greatness of the teaching, the preciousness of the teaching. See, in India, in Tibet, many Tibetan great translators, they go to India, they travel to India. They sacrifice their life. With each word, they sacrifice their life. In Tibet, there was a great, a Tibet king. So he invited the great Indian master Adisha to Tibet. So he say, so there's an evil king. So that evil king say, he was demanding the gold, gold to the size of the human head. He say, but then he was this Dharma king was imprisoned, and then he say, let me die in the jail. But he was instructing his minister, another minister, Dharma king, you go to India and invite the great Nalanda, Nalanda master to Tibet, and then propagate the Dharma teaching. So they don't give any single gold to this evil king. So like this, and then finally he died, in the jail. You see. So during those time in India and Nepal, there the very hot climate. People, these great masters, translators, risk their life to travel, go to India for only Dharma, also. And then many have died on the way. So they really, you see, the Bodhisattva ever crying, Dharmadgota. The Dharmadgota, in try to search the Dharma, he was searching for Dharma. So then, when he came to his guru, teacher, what happened is, the evil spirit, those evil spirits, they raised the dust, dust. So then, he, this Bodhisattva cut his body parts and let the blood, let the blood come out, and so this blood helped to, pacify this dust. So like this. So people, people spend their resources, people risk their own life for the Dharma. So, if the way the great Milarepa, practiced, the early great masters, they say, if we are able to practice just the half effort that Milarepa put, we would have enlightened. We would have enlightened like this. So, it says, with great energy, we put with great energy. Preparation with great energy, never giving up the 4 sessions. When we do the retreat meditation, we do the 4 sessions, right? Some 6 sessions. We do the 4 sessions. Never giving up the 4 sessions. Please bless me to realize the teachings of the Holy Guru. Please bless me to realize the teachings of the Holy Guru. So give me the bless to realize the teachings of the Holy Guru. So at this point we already discussed, we need to visualize the nectar flowing down from the Guru, dissolving into oneself. Nectar flow down, So it helps to purify one's negativities. And by reflecting on the qualities, it is very important to understand one thing, it says, we have to, now for example, our master, this master, Chöndé Rinpoche, and His Holiness the Dalai Lama, like this, we take this as a model. All the good spiritual teacher, all the good spiritual master, we need to take them as a model. We make our best to follow the example, how they do. So it becomes very important. Through that, we can be transformed. We can be transformed. That's why we say this the patient, for the patient is in the hospital, so the doctor diagnosed for him to get recovery, the doctor is necessary, the medicine is necessary, and the nurse is necessary. So 3 things necessary, right? Without which, similarly, if we are to seek some meaningful, if we are to seek something meaningful, if we are to looking for some really everlasting bliss, everlasting happiness, then we need the 3 things. We need the 3 things: the reliable spiritual guide with qualifications. Everybody cannot be a spiritual guide. Everybody cannot be a spiritual guide. Chögyam Lapa say, if someone were to your spiritual guide, then the spiritual guide should have qualities, should have qualifications. Someone who is well tamed, someone who has the training, internal training, training in the ethics, training in the meditation, training in wisdom. Only this guide will help you. Will help, like this. So, in order to embark on the spiritual journey, we need 3. The spiritual mentor, and then the teaching, and then the what? And then the more looks not important, but important, very important. We need good spiritual companion. Most of the time you don't come across good spiritual companion, really. And then, one's surrounding also makes some impact on oneself. Then there's no transformation. So it's very important to, have the spiritual companion near oneself. Because with the spiritual companion, then we always, develop, we are always transformed. When, for example, We say in Tibetan, the biographies of the Guru, the biographies of the wonderful teachers, these are the practice by the followers. These are practiced by the followers. Then, first we study Sutrapath, and then we study, Vajrayanapath. And then after studying all this, and then finally we see the importance of the Guru devotion. The importance of Guru devotion. Yeah. So here we are asking all the blessings from the merit field, asking blessings. May I develop the realization to recognize the preciousness of the human life. May I develop a realization to see the defects and the shortcomings of samsaric life. May I develop a bodhicitta, may I develop the wisdom. Please bless me, please bless my mind. Like this. So also His Holiness, just 2 days ago, His Holiness Dalai Lama say people celebrating his birthday. A lot of good words, good message for him. Then he, in his turn, he say, if you want to celebrate my birthday, he say, you promise to make a good heart. You always need to be kind. This is the best gift that you can give me. Not in a gift of some, some gift, external gift. Just try to be good, try to be warm-hearted. So this is the best gift. Like this. So these are the transformation. Bless me to realize the teaching of the Holy Guru. Why it is called Holy Guru? Please bless me to realize the teaching of the Holy Guru. Not only Guru, but it says Holy Guru. Right. So, Holy Guru, why? Very Holy Guru. Very true. Because now in the Tantra teaching, it says, in order to delight the spiritual Guru, someone, in order to delight the spiritual Guru, delight the, the root Guru, root Guru, you give everything to him. If you are a beginner to Buddhism, we are surprised. What does that mean? But then, of course, it is worthwhile to give everything, even the son, the daughter, the resources, everything, because that person is giving you something which you have never realized before, which you have never experienced before. He is giving you the eternal bliss that the spiritual Guru is supposed to give you the eternal bliss, the everlasting bliss. The 24 hours, the year, the century which can last. This bliss giving. And not only this, we don't remember past life. We don't remember past life. What happened to our past life? So anyway, we have taken this precious human rebirth. When we have precious, we don't know if this life is precious. But then it is the Guru who introduced. You do this, you do that. We are completely like, blind. We are completely like blind. Now who awakened us from this kind of blindness state? This is the precious human rebirth. Why it is precious human rebirth? It's like this, like that. No, we can say, oh, no, I don't have spiritual guru. But then, at least, even if we, understand that life is so precious, at least we heard it from somewhere, right? Either from book. Who wrote the book? If the spiritual guru wrote the book. So everything is dependent. So now, So then, we are almost like blind, almost like the blind of what is to be accepted, what is to be rejected. We are blind, Right from the beginning, when we are born, we do not have any idea. We do not know what is to be accepted. Right? Now, in the law, in the country law, don't kill. If you kill, you go to jail. So we all know this. But then, if we really want to be very happy, not only, physically happy, if you really, because Buddhism, specifically emphasizes on creating the mental joy, mental happiness and mental joy. So now, who is the one who introduced to the cultivation of the mental joy is the spiritual guru, is the spiritual teacher. Is the spiritual teacher. So that's why it's a holy guru, because this spiritual guru giving you the instructions on how to cultivate the bliss, how to create happiness, not only this life, but life after life. He gives you these precious instructions. That is more, very, very precious, That's more precious. Once friend can give you something which we can use only in this life, maybe a car. Your friend give you car. Of course, car, we have this, we can use in this life, but we cannot bring that car to the next life. Right? So the spiritual guru is giving you something which you can use also in next life, life after life. So this is why it's called holy guru. Holy. Because here, holy, you yourself, if we practice, we not only take a birth in the Pure Land, we also become the perfect human being. We also become enlightened being. Now who make this possible? Guru make it. Right? At least I study now. I study, I practice. And then next life I will have good rebirth. I will have good rebirth. Now who make all this? Spirit Guru. Right? So that's why the great Indian master Chandrakirti says, I prostrate to the first day of the moon. I do not prostrate to the 15th day of the moon. Because 15th day of the moon comes from the first day. Without first day moon, there is no 15th day moon. So all the spiritual qualities, all the goodness, all the wonderful qualities comes from the spiritual guru. If there is no spiritual guru, there is no deity. If there is no spiritual guru, there is no Buddha. There is no Tara. All these Tara, these Buddhas are the emanations of one spiritual Guru. Right? Okay, now I will stop here. If you have question, ask, or we continue to read. Yeah.
Just a quick question on the 4 sessions.
4 session normally, sometimes people do in the morning 2 times, and then in the evening 2 times. Yeah, these are 4 sessions, and then we can do the 6 session. For example, 6 session Guru Yoga, 4 session Guru Yoga, 4 sessions. Depending on the availability of time, you can divide this. Some they do in the morning and some in the evening. But mostly when we do the retreat, it begins from evening, because there are some special reason why we do begin from the evening. And then each of the deity, they have their own, the kind of date why we do in the evening. So there are many reasons. Then next is the last, right? So with this we finish. I will get my books.
Do you know how long it's going to take for the last one? Do you know how long it's going to take for the last chapter to end?
No, next week.
Next week?
The last,
Same time, same day?
Yeah, same time, same day.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.